Hey, fellow survivors. This is Heavy, and I have reason to celebrate. Today is the day I made 500,000 kills. Well, made it to 500,000 kills, not all in one day, of course, and all within a year of game time, to be more precise. So, if that sounds interesting to you, I'm going to go through how I got there and some of the methods I use. Some of them are a little bit unorthodox. Some may call them cheesy. But let's see, I spawned my guy in Louisville directly. Of course, I use a mod to create the spawn point, since in vanilla there is no spawn point in Louisville. There's quite a lot of zombies despite me spawning in this rural place, and that is because I have set 16x population in my sandbox settings. That is the maximum population you can have in this game. Basically, you set all the multipliers in population settings to 4 and your peak day to 1. So since I have several 100,000 zombies in Louisville, and my purpose is to kill them all, not just to survive, mind you, I am using a lot of fire. So that would be the first kind of cheese that a lot of people might consider to be an unfair advantage. I don't consider it. It's a vanilla feature, and everybody's free to play the way they want. And if I want to burn all the zombies in Louisville, I'm gonna do it. And next we come to Britta's weapon pack. A lot of people complain about the amount of ammo and guns that this adds to the game. I'll make a separate video exactly about this topic, but let's just say I'm using Britta for this run. Again, there's probably no possible way that there's enough ammo for me to kill all the zombies with the guns. There are some helpful things like incendiary grenades and Britta's weapon pack that could be considered a bit cheesy at this point. If I didn't have those, I would have to make lots and lots of Molotovs. Now we come to the next cheesy kind of play, which is find a siren, or a vehicle with a siren to be more precise. Place it somewhere where you want it to be and start the siren. Of course, on 16x pop, this is the result of that siren. It's just masses of zombies from practically all sides. It was quite intense. Also keep in mind, at this point I am using a little mod called Don't Feed the Zombies. What it does is it creates an invisible sound to the player, but not to the zombies, from each and every corpse that you create. Of course, this caused my game to crash after about 50,000 kills, with my topmost being 16,000 kills in one day, of course by fire, as I said before. But unfortunately the mod crashed my game, which meant I had to disable it and move on to greener pastures, which happened to be the other side of Louisville, the main checkpoint, where I got lots of guns and ammo that would last me not through the whole series, but quite for a bit, enough to take over my first gas station. Of course, it was a lot of work, a lot of burning, and pretty much days upon days of killing zombies in the area. And even so, this only opened up a small window for me to loot. So basically everywhere I went, I had a huge horde to burn. It wasn't even a question of using my weapons, as I simply did not have the fire rate to even consider dealing with something like this. So you can see it's quite intense, and every time you want to loot some food, some water, some gas for your vehicle, or God knows what else you want to loot, this is kind of the horde you have to deal with. And this doesn't just end in one day. You just don't burn them down in one day. They just keep coming and coming and coming, especially the more you shoot your weapons or you make some kind of other noise. They just come in from further away. I stick mostly to the edges of the map, going through the northern edge and trying to reach other places that I can loot. One of them being the army prep store. But the most important find was the helicopter. I am at this point 3 months in and perhaps 150,000 kills already, all done by foot. And it's time to ride in style with this helicopter. So that's our next cheese, the helicopter mod called Black Hawk. Now, of course, it's incredibly useful to be able to fly around over buildings and over hordes of zombies. But keep in mind that every time I start this baby up, a huge horde is attracted to me, of course, because of this sound. And another downside of this helicopter is that it eats up the gas quite quickly, which means it can be used for flying around. It can be even used for gathering up zombies to burn. But always this has a huge cost because you have to then land it and fuel it as the hordes keep coming in at all times. There's never safety in Louisville at this point. This is the kind of effect I have in the area just by flying the helicopter around. Of course, at this point, I am using the next cheese, which is firing stuff out of my helicopter, mostly incendiary stuff, to help me burn them over. But with every kind of burn like this, right afterwards, I need to go and refuel the helicopter because it eats up so much gas. And usually, each refueling comes with a huge horde that I need to kill. Even after clearing up the gas station here, I still regularly have to clear it up every time I come in with the helicopter to refuel it. I have very few gas canisters at this point, but with time I gather even more. So refueling runs are longer and perhaps more dangerous, but at least I have enough canisters to last me for a while instead of just going each time to refuel the helicopter. However, it's kind of a challenge to do this. I have to resort to several places where I can refuel all across the map. I've got perhaps 5 or 6 different gas stations with their own generator, of course. And what really helps is having a siren around to draw in the horde as you loot the gas. Of course, this is not always available, and unfortunately I am playing a veteran, which cannot, at this point at least, hotwire vehicles. So I have to use whatever I find. And in some places, it turns up like this, because this is the amount of burning I had to do to just keep the place clear. Some areas of the map are always full of zombies, and it's these places that I target to do the biggest burns. In this kind of periodic cycle, I just come back to them when all the zombies have come back, either by migration or by the spawns inside the houses. But one of the most used tactic, of course, is the siren from an ambulance. It's preferable. I haven't seen zombies been able to destroy the siren, as it happens with some other vehicles like police cars. So ambulances are really good for this. I usually find a place where I can hide out, or if I need to loot some food and a siren happens to be nearby, it's one of my preferred targets. Of course, this can get a little dangerous sometimes, but without it, I doubt it I could loot, because as soon as you kill something, another 3 zombies appear in its place. It's always moving in Louisville with this kind of population. So with time, the area does clear out, as you can see here. But these are, again, the edges of the map where most of the zombies have either been burnt or killed, or they just migrated to the other chunks that are supposed to have more population. So in order for me to refuel the helicopter after every time I do a little burn with it, I have to find spaces that are safe. One such space was the courtyard next to the police and prison, which doesn't have any entrances for the zombies to get to me. So it's a great place because it's very full of zombies, and I can refuel right there and then get back to work. Another place is the bridge at the northern end of Louisville. Again, this is very near populated areas that I can do a lot of damage in. So that's another kind of exploit, just having these places that are not accessible by the zombies. So as for the main base, I took up refuge in one of the farms down south and the southeastern corner. It was a great find because besides the remote location, the already built garden, the tractors, it was also a survivor building. So it had a bunch of ammo inside it and a bunch of melee weapons, which I really never used, to be honest. But yeah, this is life in Louisville, and this is pretty much how it went. A lot of siren abuse, a lot of fire abuse, but with a lot of luck, patience, and I would add skill though. I mean, to survive for a whole year in these circumstances, it's definitely not easy. It's definitely not a place you can just walk down the street. Even after 500,000 kills, 500,000 kills, you still get a lot of nests, and you still get a lot of zombies walking around basically everywhere. And one last exploit or bug that I like to report is with Brita's weapon packs. For the weapons that you can have different types of magazines, you can actually repair them indefinitely by resetting the repair counter by simply changing the magazine. So this is my story, guys. I hope to see you at 1 million kills. And if you like this, please watch my series, The Purge, on my YouTube channel.